This might be one of the simplest yet most effective workflow plugins I've ever come across. LANDR just dropped their brand new sampler plugin and I've been using it for the past couple days. I feel like it really shines in three main parts of my workflow that I'll cover in this video. Hey, I'm Mikhail Kush and I've been producing music for the last 14 years. I've worked with over 120 clients across 70 different cities, and one of the most important things for running a successful online music production business is being able to come up with new ideas really quickly. And this plugin, although it's not what I expected from it, seems to be really great at three aspects of my workflow. Let's jump in and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here we've got a brand new instance of the LANDR sampler and just a basic rundown of the interface. This is basically where you'll go ahead and import your samples. Here is your sample playback, sort of just your normal piano roll. And then here you've got three main windows being sampler mode, sort of playback in different keys, and then you've got the slices mode where you can load different slices onto different keys. And then up here you've got this section which I think makes this app really powerful, and it's this advanced filtering tool. So basically here you can search for, I don't know, guitar, and it'll then go through your sample library or the samples you've loaded into it and just load up guitar tagged samples onto your keys, so that when you play back, these are all keys, right? This kind of takes me straight into the first thing, which is finding samples and just being able to search for samples clearly. I often find it extremely cumbersome to, for example, go here and search for guitar melodies and the guitar melody, and then maybe that's not actually what's in the name, so I'm missing out samples. So I'll search guitar loop. Then I've got all these guitar loops, but they're in different tempos and different keys. Now, that's where the power of this LANDR sampler comes in, where your samples with similar keys, similar characteristics are grouped, and you get this immediately playable sampler, which is kind of how I would use Arcade. Also really cool, very similar use case, but where this becomes more powerful is this advanced filtering and the ability to just load up your own samples, but with so much ease. It doesn't require a whole lot of setup. Like, you literally just link a folder and then you've got access to all of your samples in a very easy to use way. So let's go ahead and just start something. Just start a production with this so I can show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back to the filter and just clear the filter and load a brand new batch of samples, and you'll see how all the keys are refreshed. Now, basically this means there's a loop on each key, and that loop is quantized to the project tempo, which is 120 beats per minute. I'm just going to go ahead and just start playing on these loops and see if I can find something that I want to start the track with. Okay, cool. So I found this guitar loop and this percussive loop, and I quite like how they sound together. So let's just get that down and then move on to the next step. Now that we've got the starting point of the track done, the next part of my workflow that really helps is coming up with drum kits. So I'm going to show you how to come up with a really good drum kit in LANDR sampler. Basically, the easiest way I've found to do this is to just go to the advanced filters and let's filter for one shots only, drums, and then we just hit load. Let's see what comes up with that. Okay, so now we've got this entire bank of percussive sounds, right? So let's go in there and just start programming out a drum beat. I haven't really listened to what these samples are yet, but then I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to swap them out with other ideas and still keep your overall groove and just find new ideas that you normally wouldn't because of how laborious it is to just search through banks of folders. So I'm thinking, let's just do a basic 4-on-the-floor kick drum pattern with some offbeat hi-hats, and I'm just going to go in and add a few things to just get some sort of groove going. Okay, so I've got this basic drum beat down, but now I just want to head over to the sampler and show you how you can go and change up all sounds or just the ones that you don't like anymore. So basically each one of these notes is represented on this piano keyboard, and as it plays you can obviously see the notes being triggered. So let's say we don't like this sound. Well, you could just click on it, go over to the edit tab, and then you could just click on this dice, and then you could replace with the dice. we also can do is we can just go and, let's say we don't like the key anymore. So let's just go and change the overall key. And if we make it, let's say F, the samples would just snap into that position. And now my favorite part of using a sampler plugin like this is just being able to really creatively add ear candy in. Now this is a lot more experimental, and I'm kind of just gonna have to let it roll and you'll see what I mean. But just by having a bunch of ideas all over the keys, you can kind of just punch them in, and even if you just use like a little bit of a sample at the right time, it can help add a lot of motion to it. So I'm just going to refresh this, load brand new samples, and make sure that there aren't any filters set to it. Okay, I want tonal things preferably, and let's look for. Okay, let's just filter the samples by vocal, because I find that vocals give me a lot more room to work with when it comes to creating like little ear candy moments. Okay, and then let's go and add RC20 on top of it. And then also just obviously want to transpose this to the right key to make sure that we are in the same key as the other version of sampler. I quite like this little progression. Okay, some variation of that. Let's just play through it and see what I can come up with. This is a really simple thing I've added, right? It's nothing major, but to create this kind of usable little loop is often a lot harder if you're actually just looking at the sample, because trying to pick through and pull things and come up with rhythms isn't as straightforward as literally just getting a bunch of samples, not really knowing what they are, and then messing around to come up with some sort of idea. I mean, this I can now go and process infinitely further to transform into whatever I want, but being able to just so quickly access things. Now, this isn't like a great song or any full production, but I think this kind of demonstration gives you a great idea of how I foresee this plugin working inside my workflow. Like just coming up with a basic idea to building a drum kit to starting to add some of the extra stuff on top, like these little hits and these little rhythms and that kind of thing. I find that this is just such an efficient flow to be able to get through it quickly, and then of course start recording on some keys, or you could even go straight from keys into let's try and add just a drum loop to just get something going, and then you start iterating on that and end up with very usable, very unique little instruments. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that I inspired or entertained or at least educated you somewhat. There is a link down in the description if you want to go check out Sampler for yourself. Cheers.